I mentioned previously that I had a Wistuba order, and maybe I mentioned that I have a new lowland grow tent. So this is it right now, and all the Wistuba order plants are bagged up right now just to acclimate them, and also kind of like a quasi kind of quarantine thing, just make sure there's no creepy crawlies in there or anything. I did find a few small ants, but just like maybe less than 10 or so. Uh, and without their queen, of course, the ants are starting to die. So they were like very slow and sluggish and basically on the verge of death anyways. So it's unlikely they would infest anything. But I'm more looking for things like slugs or earwigs just to keep them quarantined from other plants. But I think they look pretty good. I think they don't have anything in there. For any plants I get from a large nursery, I always try to quarantine a bit, just in case. I don't really know how they grow them in their greenhouses, if they sprayed them down or anything. I did find a slug once, and that's what started making me do this. In one of I won't say who, but a very common place people buy plants from. I found a single slug, a tiny little slug, and I do want a slug infestation, so I do quarantine my plants for a bit. But anyways, let us talk about the ant plants. So yeah, I have a whole bunch of ant plants. They're all bagged up. These are just the lowland ones. This is my lowland tent. You can see it gets kind of hot in here. I moved I think I mentioned that my Slouch-terii was not doing too hot, but you can see that it's after being moved in here, its new leaves are starting to sprout from the growth point again. So I think it's the reduction in temperature is helping it a bit. So we'll see how it does. But yeah, I'm just gonna slowly unbag through some of these plants just to talk about them and show them off, I guess. I don't really like to show plants that I just got because they're not really my plants yet. I haven't really cared for them. So any new leaves or any growth they have is not really belong to me kind of thing. But I guess in this case we'll make an exception because it's such a large order. I did want to try to make an unboxing video, but halfway through the video I was like, this isn't really a good video because all the codices are just wrapped in tissue paper and you couldn't see anything, right? So it's like, oh, like let me take out this bag of tissue, another bag of tissue, and yeah, so I thought I would pot them up first. And this is the big tray of moss that I got from my seedling tank. So this whole tray was filled, and I still couldn't use it all. See, I still have a whole bunch of moss left. I was using them for all these pots, but this whole tray was filled. So the whole smaller terrarium I had was just filled with moss. I guess, when you fertilize ant plants, the moss really likes that. But yeah, let me start. Maybe we'll start with the Lecanopteris, which are ant ferns. I have unbagged some of these Lecanopteris. So they grow in very shallow pots because they don't really have much of a root system. It's just used to cling onto the trees. But they grow wide, so they spread really fast. So you want to give them a wide, shallow pot so they don't collide with the pot edges. So I have these new wide pots that I got for them. Lectinoperis are ferns, so they're not like flowering plants. So ferns, of course, are produced by spores, which they sprout from the undersides of their leaves like that. Maybe one day I will try reproducing them from spores. It's a bit more nuanced than growing stuff from seeds, so we will see. Lecanopteris have these rhizomes that can be hollow, and sometimes rhizomes have side branches that could be hollow or non-hollow, but usually the middle portion is hollow, and then the ants live inside those hollow portions, and then the rhizome just like grows like a alien slug-looking thing. So it's a very weird looking plant. And these are just the lowlanders. So I think there's 13 species, no designs. And I either in transit or have already, I think 12 of them. I'm just missing one. And once I have that one, maybe I'll make a video of them all just as an update. So let's go over some of the ones I got from this shipment. So these are all lowlanders in this lowland tent. I did have a few highlanders in the Highland tent though, but they were all acclimating. I think some of them came, I think this is the one that came with ants. So I found like 10 ants. Had to wash them out from the rhizomes and everything. Could go over some of the ones that came in. Start off with this one in this corner. So these three are the same. I only got one, but it broke into 3 pieces. So I have 3, I guess, clones or copies now. This one is Lepidopteris diparoides. So these are known to have some very wax-covered rhizomes. You can kind of see the white wax shimmering in the light there. So this is the main, I guess, the mother piece, and it had a few side branches that kind of broke off into these two that I try to get more plantlets from. This one here is Lectinopteris celebica. So this one is like a smooth blobby form, looks very alien-like, and the older portions will turn black, but they won't be dead. It will just be black colored, and it will just crawl along like this big blob. So yeah, it's very, very cool. Hopefully I can get a division off this side blob once I cut it. If it forms a new leaf. Here's Lecanopteris mirabilis, so one of my favorite ones. I mean, it's hard to say which one's my favorite. I like a lot of them, but this one is unique in that it has no hollow rhizome. It's just a plate. It's a flat plate, and then it will like crawl along and divide up like as big plates that look like this. And between the plate and the bark of the tree is where the ants would live. So it has no hollow portions for the ants to live in. So that's unique in that way. But it looks very, very pretty. Look at its spotted patterning. Usually it will have a black rim or dark colored rim. Right now, of course, with the divisions and everything, doesn't look as hot, but eventually this one should look like a stunner. And this one came as like 2 lobes, and I was able to break off the other lobe to try to get 2 divisions off this. So I have a backup plant. Yeah, it's very pretty. Let me move these aside so we can look at the other ones. So the next few are kind of these very scale colored Lecanopteris. So there's like, they're covered in these like scales. They look very weird. This one is Lecanopteris lomaroides. This one hopefully is doing okay. I noticed some of the finger sections, just like right here. This one is a bit crusty, as in it's a bit weaker. I can feel it's like kind of crispier. So maybe that part is dead. But inside I do see a bunch of living portions, so maybe it's fine. So very scaly. And this one, Lomaroides, forms these little weird upright sections, like the bits of it, the fingers will start pointing upwards for some reason. Maybe it's just getting crowded out, but that's what Wistuba said. It forms those weird sections. Don't really know what they're for yet. But yeah, these will be all hollow, and ants will live inside. Next up, we have some Sinuosa. I have a few from different locations. This one's from Normanby, Papua New Guinea. So not Normandy, Normanby. And then the other one's from Wasiur. Wasiur from Irangira. So Sinuosa, they form like these, like long, they're long, the rhizomes are long and not blob-like. And their fingers kind of like all like crunch up or curl up into each other. Kind of like this, but more long and finger-like. So it's just like one long finger rhizome that like all wraps around and curls up, branches off and stuff like that. So I was able to break mine up into smaller pieces. So hopefully all these small pieces end up growing. It's also kind of scaly. I think looks kind of scaly, just like the Lomaroides. It's not my favorite one, but I think it's starting to grow on me already. I originally didn't like the Sinuosa because it's just all like long instead of blobby, but it's growing on me. And I have a few trays. They divided them up a lot, so more Sinuosa trays. Back here is I think it's a Crustaceae. This one is not like Sinuosa, so it's less finger-like, but it's still kind of similar. And I've got all these little scales on them, you could see. So yeah. So, a bunch of ant plants, or ant ferns. Let's move on to some of the actual ant plants. Next we have a couple of spiky Myrmecodias. So let's start with this smaller one. This one is Myrmecodia platyria from Sepik River, Papua New Guinea. So platyria is a pretty common Myrmecodia. You could get this from online here in the US quite a lot. Usually they are from Australia. Of course, the range is wider than that, and I guess a few of them are in Sepik River, Papua New Guinea. So platyria, nice spiky codex there. This one is an undescribed species from Lake Kutubu, Papua New Guinea. So a lot of these Myrmecodias are undescribed to science, so they just have their location data. Maybe it will end up being like some other Myrmecodia, like tuberosa or platyria or something like that, but as of right now, they are just undescribed, and it's just your location data. So this one's quite a large one I got. Seems like it has some like lichen or something growing on it, or I don't know what those white spots are. Hopefully it's not fungus, but as long as the codex is hard but not crunchy, it's fine, I guess. Hasn't dropped its leaves yet, so maybe it'll be fine. Hopefully it does okay. And even though it's a bit brown and crispy looking, I do see little green roots coming out of it. So this part must still be alive, I guess. So maybe it's okay. So I'm just unbagging them from down there and moving them up here so I could stand and talk about them without having to crouch. So these two are Myrmecodia from Ciaciata, so they're undescribed species from Ciaciata. I think these are, they look like Myrmecodia alata, so they could be from the alata complex, but they have white flowers. So these came, when they came, they had a whole bunch of the little seedlings already like sprouting from inside the holes. So I guess the berries were not picked off, so the seedlings just sprouted. So I picked up all the little seedlings and planted them. So I have like a whole bunch more growing from seed. Here's another one. I think one of these also had a berry that I was able to get some seeds from. But two Myrmecodia from Ciaciata. I mean, I prefer to grow them from seed, so eventually once the seed ones grow up bigger, I'll probably sell off the bigger ones. Because, I don't know, I just kind of like watching them grow from when they're very small. Also, you know, it's cleaner, as in all the spines wouldn't be broken from shipping or everything, so they will look more picturesque, I guess. Here are two of the same again from Anthorrhiza bracteosa. So these are not Myrmecodias, they're Anthorrhizas. Bracteosa from Normanby, Papua New Guinea. Lots of plants from Normanby. But yeah, Wistuba grows them all nice, with nice looking leaves. Whenever I grow them, they end up getting the false scale, I guess, where they say it's because changing humidity levels causes some cells to erupt and callus over. So I don't know. Hopefully they don't do as bad here in this tent. But here's Anthorrhiza bracteosa. This one also came with a whole bunch of flowers, little berries. I think there was like 3 berries on this thing that I picked off, and they have a whole bunch of small little Anthorrhiza seedlings now. This one is covered like in like roots. So I don't know what's up with that. Here's 2 more. Myrmecodia from Dinagat. Dinagat. Minadao. So these have more of a smoothish codex. They say it looks like Myrmecodia bullosa, so that's a different species. And bullosa has been wrapped up into the Myrmecodia tuberosa species. So it's, I guess, a defunct name, but Myrmecodia from Dinagat. Maybe it's a bullosa, maybe it's something else. They don't really know yet, but nice, smooth-looking codex. We'll see how it develops as it grows. Here's a few more smaller amplants. We have Myrmecodia beccarii from Hall River, Australia. This one's got these little lumpy looking codex. I think this one supposedly has blue flowers, so we will see once that flowers. Next up is a Hynophytum dentricastans from Normanby Island, Papua New Guinea. So I already have one of these. It's in my Lowland terrarium, but you know, so I get a second one. Maybe wait until it flowers, and then sell them off once I have seedlings. Yeah, I think it's written by Wistuba that these grow, well, first of all, they're terrestrial, so they're not epiphytic, and their codex likes to be underground, I guess, within the moss or whatever. So, neat little codex so far. These 2 up here are Hynophytum membromoense, and it says, or related species, possibly new genus. So I think Wistuba says these don't really look like Hynophytums, they don't really look like Myrmecodias. They could be a new genus, but right now it just looks like a lump with a single tiny little leaf on it. So this one came with no leaves, so this started growing over the last few days. This one has a few more leaves. It's got 2 of these. I guess we'll see how they turn out. I think it's talking about like the leaf shape or flower shape. So this one has some of that false scale I'm talking about. You can see where the cells kind of expand, and then once they dry out, they become all scab-like. Here's Hynophytum ferruginum. I think this one you can find in the US pretty easily, as in for sale, not growing in the US, I mean. Just Hynophytum. And then beside it is Hynophytum from Malabale. So this one I was told grows slowly. So we will see if it grows any slower than all the others. And over here we have a couple from Central Luzon, Myrmecodia spec Central Luzon. So undescribed species from that location. Kind of like a smoother looking codex. Although these codexes can change as they grow. So maybe it looks smooth now, maybe it'll get wrinkly later. I'm not sure how they look like when they get bigger. But I got 2. So you can see the false scale on this one. So that is not a pest or insects, it's just how the ant plant's leaves sometimes develop. These two are Myrmecodia from Sumagaya, Minadao. So not too much to say about these two, but they do look nice. Maybe it's like a tuberosa or something like that, related kind of thing. Got these little flowers coming out, white flowers. See if we can get some seeds from them. And here's the other one, smaller one. It's also flowering, little white flowers. Hopefully you get some seeds. Not too much spines on this codex, but kind of warty, wrinkly appearance. This one is Anthorrhiza recurvispina. This one's from Missima Island, so it's a question mark because it's the type Anthorrhiza recurvispina is from Rosso Island or something like that, and so this one's from a different location and it looks slightly different. So it could be a new species or something like that, yeah, or it could be related. I think Wistuba said the leaf shape or something like that is different, maybe something different with the flowers. But I really like how the codex looks on this guy. It's all like alien looking. Look at all those little warty holes, and it has some big holes also. So it's got everything, and it has this like metallic sheen on it. So it looks very alien, and even the flower looks all alien, like it's a clump of little bracts and root hairs. So weird little plant, Anthorrhiza recurvispina. This one is dropped all its leaves, so hopefully it does okay. This one is Myrmecodia from Kebai Valley, so undescribed species. Not too much to say about it. It's very thorny though. All those little thorns. Some of the thorns, like, they branch out into multi-pronged thorns. It's pretty cool. But so far it dropped all its leaves. So this one is a big boy and it's very handsome looking. And this one is Myrmecodia bullosa from Sorong, Irangira. So bullosa is supposed to be a defunct species name. It should be lumped into tuberosa now, but Wistuba says this location or species from this location is more distinct and different from tuberosa, so maybe it deserves to be its own species. So it has this very smooth, wrinkly codex with no spines or anything, but it has these like foam-like protrusions. Like, look at these foam-like structures, lots of little holes on it. Very freaky looking, and overall this is a very, I don't know, handsome looking codex. Look at that, just so alien looking. So hopefully this one does well for me. I really like this one. This one's quite large actually. Just have a few more, almost done. This one is an Anthorrhiza ichinella from Perseus Pass, Papua New Guinea. Ichinella supposed to means like urchin or something like that. So I see that word. I guess this comes from the very spiny looking codex. Very cool. So I guess a lot of these come from the same location, Perseus Pass or whatever. Normally, so maybe they have like an expedition and they find a whole bunch of different species. They collect some seed for science into a nursery, and they're able to propagate them. This one is undescribed species from Waghiti, and it's lanceolate leaves. So undescribed, but the leaves are lanceolate shaped, so more thin. And then back here is undescribed species with elongated elongated leaves. Suwasi. I don't know if they mean elongated leaves or elongated codex, because the codex was described to be sausage shaped, although it's not really looking like a sausage here. It's looking more blobby. Maybe once it grows, it'll become more sausage-like. Of course, like as I mentioned, a lot of these codexes will change as they get bigger, so we'll see more differences as they get older. And then there's some other ant plants that I had from before, so not from the Wistuba order, and also on the Nepenthes. I need to move these guys out. These are probably too hot for them in here, but this is some Veitchii like varieties, a whole bunch of Veitchiis. Need to move them to the Highland tent. Just too hot in here. More Veitchii from carnivorous. Here's some seedlings, more seedlings of my Myrmecodia schecterii subspecies pendula from Sagarai Valley. Little seedlings. This one's looking a bit dry, so I gotta give it some water. It's very nice and cute. Just like how they look when they're seedlings. They're all fat. Down here, I have, I think this was the mother plant of my North Sumatra, Myrmecodia North Sumatra. Some nice large leaves. So ant plants can get huge though, by the way. So depending on the species, some like Anthorhizis can be like a gigantic, like this whole tent will be filled up by one plant. But that's far in the future. This is Microgramma bifrons, I think. So these are just cuttings. I think it has 3 different cuttings, and they're starting to really grow out of the pot. So it's like a little stick, and it branches a bit, but the main stick kind of just grows straight, and it just like rushes out of the pot. So hard to control. Maybe this needs to be mounted, but yeah, it's supposed to grow like little Domatia balls. That doesn't have any on these cuttings yet, but eventually once they get bigger, they'll have. It's a different type of ant plant, so it's not like a rhizome, it's not like a caudex, but these little like tubers will form like potatoes on the vine, and then they are hollow with a little hole in it, and the ants can live inside. So these are called snake ferns, I guess. There's a few that have Domatia. Not all of them have Domatia. Some of them do have rhizomes, where ants can live inside, but I wanted to grow some of the ones with the Domatia, or Domatia? I don't know how they pronounce that word. Over here in the lowland side of the Nepenthes, these are some either evicted Nepenthes where I don't have enough room in my Highland tent, and they can maybe tolerate intermediate or lowland conditions, or they're just lowlanders themselves. So we have this one came to me as what was it? It was the same as this guy. This is Syrigaunensis. This one came to me as Syrigaunensis, but it's actually Alata Syrigal, so it's mislabeled. So Alata can grow in a variety of conditions, so I'm just going to move it into this lowland tent. And it's growing fast, like these some of these common Nepenthes can get really fast. This one is Veitchii, very nice and red. So this is one thing about Veitchii that you have to watch out for. So like look at how nice it opens up. And this one grows insanely fast too. It's like the fastest Veitchii I had. It came into me as a little seedling about this much, the size and diameter. What was this one? Where's the tag? I think it's 207. Yeah, this is Car 207. But this one doesn't age that nice. So a lot of the Car 207s, they like end up looking all the peristome becomes one dark color. So it doesn't age as nice. But when they open, this one is quite nice. And this is like in like lowland 30 degrees Celsius temperatures. And it's already so red. So you do get to enjoy it for a month or so before it ages bad. But other than that, although I don't really know yet, some of these pictures, like when they're young, they can color up differently. So maybe once it gets older, like, you know, with a thicker peristome or whatever, it will age differently and it will age more nicely. So who knows? Got a few seeds of Nepenthes. This one's just moss. This one has a sprout in there, but, you know, variety from seeds from carnivorous. Won't talk about them too much. Move my Clipiata here. This is a female Clipiata. This is a Hobo Veitchii. The humidity in here is kind of low. It's like 40% and lower. So some of these Veitchii are developing like stunted or misshapen pictures a bit. So it looks like. But this one is a Hobo. Beside it is another Hobo. So you can see it's green peristome. This one is from UE Grows. I think it's maybe like a K2 K by M. No, this is K2 by Candy Stripe, but it ended up being a Hobo. Some Capenses, more Hobo Veitchii, some carnivorous ones, because I don't really want to pull out these tags too much. 253, so Hobo 253. Need to sell this one off, man. This soil is a bit dry. I need to get these guys some water. So you can see the Hobo pictures down there. Hobo as in, that's what Drew from Carnivorous called some of these unstriped Veitchii. It's probably a bad marketing term. It should call them golden or pure peristome. That would have sold better. And a more like Hobo ones. So all the Hobo ones get evicted to here. Or I don't have enough space in my premium Highland grow space. We have Princess Mashed Potatoes. So there's a nice tree shape going here. Here's a little picture at the top of the tree. So this flowered before, and the flower kind of stunted the growth point. But because of that, it sprouted a whole bunch of basils, and the basil is now bigger than the plant. So this basil is huge. And look at this picture. So Princess Mashed Potatoes is a very mutant Nepenthes. So normally, I forget what cross this was, but normally the pictures look more normal. But one seedling came out all mutated. So maybe something with the hybridization went wrong. And all the pictures are all like lumpy potato shaped. So they call it princess mashed potatoes. It's actually flowers male, so it's not like a princess. But you know, they didn't know at the time. And yeah, look how like lumpy and weird looking the pictures are. Some people say this is the ugliest Nepenthes. Well, I guess some people, as in Drew, he's a hater on this. I'm just kidding. But I really like it. I think I like the weird, right? Look at, here's another princess mashed potatoes. So a different one. So I liked it so much I have two. I probably could cut it up. I think there's 2 basils down there. And I could probably chop this if I wanted more. But yeah, they're doing pretty nicely in this warm area. So this is a Syrigonensis, although it has no pictures yet. Yeah, so it's still growing. Got a let's see if I get this guy out without breaking anything. Very papery pictures on these lowlanders. They're like not like the Highlanders, which have waxy, tough pictures. But this is a Hemisleyana. So when these get big and uppers, which will be huge, I have no room to grow something like that big. Eventually, I'll need like a greenhouse or anything or something like that. But they when they get big, they house bats inside their pictures, and their pictures are specially formed to reflect the bat's echolocation signals. So they will like light up in the bat's mind's eye, I guess. The pictures will light up brightly, kind of like how flowers are brightly colored. They're specially shaped to be able to reflect the echoes of bats. So it doesn't look that special. It's just a parabolic reflector. There's a little parabola in there that reflects the signals better than other shapes, or flat shape. And apparently it does better than Rafflesiana at attracting the bats, and the bats are healthier when they live inside these pictures. And of course, the bats get a living space, and the plants get the poop from the bats as they live inside the pictures. So it's a bit of a mutualistic relationship there. But right now, it just looks like a Rafflesiana. Honestly, I think this is how a young Rafflesiana can also look like. Over here, we have a Ventricosa Alba C, or porcelain, or something like that. I think it's Alba C from Exotica Plants. Got these nice white pictures, and in the right conditions, it will develop into this nice looking, like ivory colored body with a red insides. Although I feel like the Longwoods clone develops this coloration more often, like every picture is like this, whereas this Alba one, it maybe depends on the temperature or maybe the age of the picture. So some of these older ones when they developed in the Highland terrarium, like this was in the Highland before I evicted it to here, it's more like that nice ivory body with darker insides. And the Longwoods one, the insides gets way darker. So I feel like the Longwoods one is, still the cream of the crop in terms of these Alba ones, but nice to have a few other ones to compare with. This big one back here is what's it called? From Carnivorous, it was moon palm, so it's unknown Nepenthes. I don't know what it is. Probably just some common looking Nepenthes. It doesn't look that all that special, but I like the name moon palm. I don't really do hybrids or anything, but this one caught my attention. Although it just looks like a typical Nepenthes. It doesn't have any special pictures. He did good marketing on this one. So unlike the hobo was bad marketing. This one was good marketing. When you call it moon palm and like, oh, it grows like a palm tree. The thing is, all Nepenthes kind of grow like a palm tree depending on how you prune and how tall the vine gets. So can't really say it grows like a palm tree, but I don't know. Yeah, this one has really taken off once it got into this lowland terrarium. It was like suffering in my Highland terrarium, where it was like, below 20 Celsius sometimes. It was just not doing great. But in this lowland terrarium, it is exploding in size, and it's now shading everything else. And then back here are, this one is it's a hybrid, something cross Lowii, not Naga cross Lowii. So very dark looking pictures, and I like its contrast with the ivory colored Alba pictures, Ventricosa Alba, and a few Boschiana seedlings. Maybe this one needs to be more in the light so it doesn't get shaded out. And I think that is all there is to say about the lowland terrarium. It is really hot, so I am like sweating. I need to stop. Maybe we'll take a few more looks at some of the Highland ant plants that I got from Wistuba. Oh, I guess there's a few Highland plants in general that I got from Wistuba too that we could take a look at. So I'll just go over some of the other Wistuba plants real quick. I won't go over the other plants for now. Right now I just don't have enough time to look at every single plant. So just some of the ones that are still bagged up. And I'm probably not going to unbag them either. I'm just going to look at them through the camera because they aren't anything special to look at right now. And most of them don't have pictures at the moment. and they're still acclimatizing, so I don't want to like disturb them too much. But I have a few. So this one is Carunculata. Carunculata is related to Nepenthes bonzo, but they say it's more red. It could be the same species, but it's just a more red bonzo. And there's this form and then a var robusta form. So I have a var robusta somewhere down here. I think it's like not this red one, but the greenish one back there. So var robusta, the pictures are supposedly well, more robust looking, so thicker tendril, thicker peristome and all that. So once we get some pictures, we will see. Have a large Heliamphora ionaceae. It's from one of the locations, I forget which one. So we'll see how this one does. Has 2 growth points too. So it's huge, this one. And then below that, the red one is a red Nepenthes truncata from a certain mountain or something. I thought because it's a mountain, maybe I'll put it in a Highland terrarium. Down here in this baggie here is Heliamphora companion plant. It's a Racinaea, undescribed species from Cyril Neblina. This is way bigger than I thought it would be, so it's huge. But yeah, to keep it with the Heliamphora. It's a neat plant. And then down here is Nepenthes Mantelingogenensis. So I already have a few Mantelingogenensis, but I thought I'd get one from Wistuba that would be like a true species. Some of these other Mantelingogenensis, I don't really know if they're the true species or not. And they're just like, you know, Mantelingogenensis from unknown grower. So we'll compare them, but they do look like Mantelingogenensis, like how they're supposed to look. So that probably is correct. But I just wanted another true species to compare with. Some of these Highland ant plants I talked about in my other video, so I won't talk about them too much. But we got H. caminiferums. These are the ones with the weird chimneys. Nobody really knows what the chimneys are for. They kind of store water, like they're in a U-shaped kind of shape, and they can catch rain and have water in there. But it doesn't really make sense for them to store water because it rains a lot where they're from. So it's not like they're starving for water. So it could be, I don't know, some things supposed to live inside that water. Maybe some frogs or whatever. Maybe they're supposed to catch insects. Who knows? Maybe it could be carnivorous. But I think that's unlikely. They need more evidence for that. They need to show the enzymes and everything are produced, and they didn't find any evidence so far of anything. So they don't really know what they're for. So it's kind of a mystery to science currently. We have a couple of Anthorrhizas. This is Chrysacantha, and another one's Ceruleae. The Ceruleae is not doing as good, but the Chrysacantha has some nice leaves. Although they live in the same location, so they should be equivalent in their growing conditions, but one seems like it and one doesn't, so I might have to move the other one around a bit. Although the caudex is still firm and green, so I don't think. Maybe it's just resting. And apparently they differ by their flower color. One is blue and one's maybe not blue. Here we have an ant fern. Try to get around here. Here's Darnadii, spiky looking ant fern with nice veining on the leaves, like kind of like a snake fern more like. But yeah, no, this one is blob shaped, but it has all these little nice neat little spines on it. Darnadii. Darnadii is supposedly one of the harder ones to grow, mainly because you need the Highland conditions. But if you could grow Highland carnivorous plants, then it's no problem. What was this one? This is Macrophyllanae. So Wistuba supposedly has the true species of Macrophyllanae. The species got split up into a whole bunch of different ones. So there's Ulukaliana, I think that's back there, this other one, Ulukaliana. Nothing interesting to look at right now, so they're still little plantlets, so no pictures or anything, so I won't disturb them right now. We've got another Heliamphora back there. I think that's Uncinata E that's backed up. Nice little Uncinata. Got a few Highland ant ferns that have this in this bag. I'm not going to remove them from the bag because I don't have any like place to put them right now, so the bag is kind of like their pot. But we have a Doman's top from 1,000 meters up. I think there's one from 16,000 meters, one's from 1,000 meters, but these are, I guess, 1,000 meters pretty high up in the mountain, so I'm assuming it's Highland. And we have another Highland ant fern. This is Spinosa. This one's Spinosa. So Spinosa is also spiny, but maybe less so than the other Darnadii that I just showed. But yeah, I'll let them grow out. I probably need to put it in a wider pot. These are just kind of the only pots I have right now, so. Speaking of temporary pots, here's 2 more Highland ant plants. This one is Hotsumii. So here's you can see how it's like inside is hollow. I guess that's how they propagate them and cut them. And you could probably cut off the side lobes to get more plants too, but this one's very spiny. Very nice. Of course, this is a temporary pot. I didn't get the wide pots in time to pot these up, so they're going to sit in here until I have enough time to repot them. And here's this lumpy looking one, is Carnosa. Very handsome. Of course, this one darkens up as it ages, and the new growth is green. I knew I forgot some new plants because they're in the Highland terrarium. I just forgot to mention these, but yeah, just a few more. We have H minor from Luna Tipui. So just another H minor. This one's a bit more, what's it called, elongated, or looks like it was lacking light when it was growing. I don't know. It's not as robust looking as I would like it to be, but hopefully it gets better. There's Nepenthes from Annie Fan. So I like the Palawan Nepenthes, and this is a newly undescribed Palawan Nepenthes. Although I heard it could be hard to grow, so this one could just die on me if it gets too hot or something. And then back there is this one's going to be exciting once it gets bigger. Iroquoides or something? Yeah, Iroquoides. Iroquoides is supposed to be very, very hairy. Doesn't look that hairy right now, but once it gets bigger, it makes these tubby, cute little pictures, and it's very hairy. We got a few more new ones. This is a Darlingtonia. I never had a Darlingtonia, like mature one. I had seedlings before, but I thought I'd try a mature one out just to see. And I put it here where like the radiator is, where the radiator water drips in this tray, and the tray like cools this other water tray. Now I don't want the two waters to mix because the radiator has like copper. It's made of copper, and it may rust a bit or something like that. You can see that's blue kind of. So I think that would adversely affect the soil. So separate the two waters, but because it's kind of cold when it's on, it will cool the soil. So hopefully that allows it to grow better. We have new intermis picture. This is not a new plant, it's just a picture I just saw in here. Some hamadas, some this is a Racinaea. I don't have a good look at the big picture back here, but nice dark picture. It got a bit crushed, I guess, by the vines, but had to give it more room or move it out or something like that. Yeah, a lot of plants seem to be doing good. Won't talk about them too much in this video. Another new plant here is Expendiculata bubble giant. Although this is a seed-grown bubble giant, so I'm not sure if it's going to be true to form. But it's acclimatizing there. It's not from Wistuba, it's from some other grower, but let's see how it does. Let me move around the camera. Not really much else other than one more backed up flamingo. The flamingo did not do. I don't think it's going to survive. It did not transport well. So unfortunately, this is the only one that does not come with a guarantee from Wistuba. So they're like, you buy this at your own risk. And yeah, its growth point was dead when I got it. So it could be just rotting away right now. It still has a bit of green on it, but yeah, the middle part is all kind of dead. So who knows if it will live? We will see. And then got some nice, what is this? This is Diabolica pictures beside Hamada, new Hamada pictures. So yeah, yeah, I won't talk about the other plants too much. I talked about them in other videos, and eventually I'll make another update video, but for now, just take a quick look. I think that's it for the Wistuba order. I don't think I forgot any plants, but maybe there's a few hidden in the nooks and crannies that I shoved it somewhere and forgot about. But I won't talk about the other plants in this video because it's just too many plants to talk about, and I'm running out of time right now. But you can see some Candy Dreams opening up. Look at that, amazing looking. Got the GF Wong is finalized its pictures. My GF Wong is smaller than my Candy Dreams, so you can't really compare the pictures directly. But his new Candy Dreams picture is huge. I thought it would be smaller than the previous one because haven't been fertilizing them as much, but it looks to be of the same size or slightly bigger. It was just it was curled up before the lid opened, so it looked smaller, but once it unfurls and inflates a bit, it gets fat and opens up. A lot of VGIs. I need to go through these to see if any are getting like covered by other leaves for light. Haven't really done any maintenance in a while. Got the variegated one back there, doing good. Has 2 pictures now. I'll show it off in the future. And cephs are doing good. Look at those dark looking cephs back there. They're huge and extremely dark. So normally I don't film the new plants too much, mainly because like they could just end up dying in the next few days or due to acclimatization on that. Although I've had these plants bagged up for a week now, so unlikely they will completely collapse. But you never know. So I don't really like to show off the plants until to grow some pictures or grow a few leaves in terms of ant plants. Under my care. So at that point I could say, okay, I know how to care for it now. But until that point, they could just collapse and die. So yeah, but I thought I'd make an exception for this large Wistuba order because it's a lot of plants and it's fun to look at them. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the journey of some of these ant plants, and maybe get some ant plants of your own. They're very cool looking, and of course get some carnivorous plants. VGIs. It's a whole cult of people who just love VGIs.